Warning, there are spoilers ahead for Andor Season 2. There's a lot going on in the Star Wars series Andor. While at first I was confused as to how they would do the time jump with 1 year between the 3-episode arcs, but now I'm understanding it much better. These are moments in time that define the characters, from Cassian Andor, Bix Caleen, Wilman Pack, and even Siril Karn. There is something deeper than what we're seeing. With Cassian Andor losing Wilman Pack to Saw Gerrera's partisans and Brasso being killed, there's one thing left to solidify who he is and let him move forward to his destiny in Rogue One. With Bix Caleen letting Dr. Gorst know she is responsible for his downfall, her transition becomes complete. With Mon Mothma knowing her childhood friend Take Homa will not live to the next arc, her restraints are loosening. Then you have Wilman Pack leaving everything he knew behind. He was almost like a third wheel in this circle of friends, but became an important member of Saw Gerrera's partisans. And now he has a place to not only belong, but to feel necessary. Then we have Siril Karn seemingly being manipulative with his mother for reasons we'll get into later. He is turning the table on his life, and I will go into Vel, Sartha, and Cinta cast in just a bit too. Hey, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up and share it. Join as a member even. This is all helpful to my small channel, and it makes me excited to make more content. Not just about Andor, but all of Star Wars. Okay, what the heck was I talking about, you may ask? I'm talking about unraveling the threads of the rope that has held these characters back. And with 6 episodes left, we're surely going to see so much more of this idea of inadvertently moving toward a destiny. We know what happens to Cassian Andor, but the character himself does not. He doesn't know anyone named Jyn Erso and knows nothing of Death Star plans or the Death Star itself, even though he did help build pieces of it. Yet everything he has to go through has to lead him to the events of Rogue One. And with the romance that surely spawned from Scarif, we can safely assume that Bix Caleen will not be around much longer. Yeah, this video is going to be a little bit heavier than my previous ones recently, so buckle up. Cassian Andor loves Bix Caleen and will not forsaken her for the rebellion, unless she joins along. Then he wouldn't have the romantic ties to Jyn Erso if Bix was around for the full forming of the rebellion into what we see in Rogue One and A New Hope. Ferrix has held Cassian back from his greater destiny, just as finding his sister had in Season 1 of Andor. The petty crimes and theft he was committing were just hinting at the fact he was meant for something greater. We know what that is. But now, one by one, the people of Ferrix that he took with him after the riot are slipping away, thus ending his ties to Ferrix. Leaving the picture of his mother Marva Andor and on Mina Rao was another sign of moving forward without attachments, keeping him in the same rut that he had been in. Cassian Andor's final chain will now be Bix. A lot of Star Wars fans say Bix's torture of Dr. Gorst is cathartic, and it really is, but there's so much more to it than that. As I mentioned a moment ago, this season has been about letting go of the things holding the characters of Andor back. While both catharsis and letting go can be intertwined, it is really about Bix Caleen's journey forward. Yes, it was satisfying to see her get revenge. It dealt a lot of trauma psychologically, but it's going to be heartbreaking to see where this breaking of the shackles takes her. Yes, she will not survive the end of the season, but this release of her mental chains frees her to have a clean ending, not just for us as viewers, but for her spirit to rest peacefully, like a weight lifted from her soul. Even though things won't work out for her and the rebellion together, she will have done what she needs to do in order to leave it up to Cassian. She even told him in a nutshell that he cannot protect her from her fate, and this will be a very sad ending. All right, enough of that heavy stuff. Let's move on to Vel Sartha and Cinta Cass. While some people take issue with their on-screen relationship, I really had no problem with it. It felt more natural and emotionally driven than that of the mothers and acolyte. It didn't feel forced like the kiss and the Rise of Skywalker. It felt real. And that's all thanks to the emotion we could feel between these two characters. So when Cinta was shot by the pleb on accident, we felt that hurt and loss through the eyes of Vel Sartha. She truly loved her. To me, it wasn't about same-sex love. It was just about love and loss. We hurt for Vel. We hurt for Cinta. But we could figure out it was going to happen to one of them, likely Cinta. And we were right. She finally dropped her guard and gave Vel the love she was looking for. The next day, it was taken away forever. Truth be told, I felt for the pleb, too. Had he just followed the main rule of no blasters, Vel would still have her love. But then, Vel would not have had her own chains broken. The rope pulling her back would have kept tugging her into a position of caution. Now Vel Sartha can be the rebel she is fated to become. Unhindered. The death of Cinta took all caring and emotion from Vel, and she can now be a fierce fighter without worry about protecting anyone. Only the cause matters now, and she will go down in a blaze of glory for it, to join her love. And we will feel that pain, not just for Vel, but for Mon Mothma too. Mon Mothma is about to lose everything. Her high position in the Senate, her daughter's already gone, her cousin will be gone, and her husband will sacrifice himself proving his love for his wife, lifting the veil that shrouded their marriage, thus freeing Mon Mothma from her own chains restricting her, allowing her to become the rebel leader we see in further Star Wars stories. As Anakin Skywalker and Han Solo have proven, it's hard to be what you're meant to be while bringing a spouse or family along for the ride. You will always want to protect them first, above any mission, above any cause. Now Mon Mothma will be free of that kind of guilt if something happens to any of them out of her own planning later on. I really do believe Perrin Firtha will sacrifice himself, and this will be much more emotional than what we see with Vel and Cinta. This will be tragic. Mon Mothma isn't an assassin putting herself in the line of fire literally, but what she does causes repercussions for everything she cares about, and she will show that she truly cares about Perrin in the end. She was just misguided in his motions. He knows she has mostly thought of their marriage as tradition, but he has come to love her, and she will see that. I'm not crying. You're crying. Then we have Siril Karn. His will be another tragedy. Yes, he is a monster for working for the Empire, but he's also sympathetic. How many of you can see parts of yourself in his character? After all, his fall from the Pre-Mor security force, Siril Karn lost a lot of the confidence he once had. He can see this as he eats Fruit Loops at his mother's table. His head hung low, unsure of what his identity is now that the thing that he thought he identified as was stripped from him. He didn't even try to join the Empire as a trooper or an officer. He settled for a mediocre job handed to him by Uncle Harlow, where he felt his job in the security force was anything but mediocre. And at the center of his manipulation is his mother, telling him mediocrity is good, to keep his head down and be average, never supporting his dreams. But then, he turns the tables. Knowing he's being spied on by the Gorman resistance, he manipulates his mother to play in the ruse, to lift his chin up, to be someone important again. It's an evil mission, but I don't think he's an evil person. We can empathize with him, even sympathize. How many of us worked for a company or followed a leader we believed to have our best interests in their fronts of their minds? only to find out later it was all for their own benefit. Damn near all of us. And eventually, he will see that Dedra Meero is one of those out for her own interests, like every other Imperial officer. So he's gaining his confidence back, but will have a change of heart later and see the evil he works for when the Gorman massacre happens. Dedra Meero doesn't tell him everything about his mission or what the end result will be. He thinks he's working towards peace. Remember, the biggest act of evil we have seen committed by Siril Karn was him trying to arrest Cassian Andor. But now, he is part of a much more evil plan, unwittingly. His also will be a tragic end. He's breaking out of his mental prison that his mother has on him, and soon he will break out from under the newest woman to manipulate him, Dedra Meero. And once we see the damage she has done to him, all respect for her will be lost by Siril. Let's just hope she doesn't survive to do it to another poor soul. I know there's a lot of speculation in here, but the clues are there. Andor is a deeper show than some people give it credit for. It's brilliantly written and acted. Not everything in the Star Wars universe has to be about lightsabers and large ship battles. There are real people with real pain and happiness caught in the crossfire that have never seen a Jedi or Sith, or much less a battle. Much like the faces of those rushing to get the Death Star plans to Leia, they had never seen anything like Darth Vader and were truly terrified. But Star Wars doesn't have to be about that in everything written. If we continue to just see Sith versus Jedi, Sith versus Jedi, Sith versus Jedi, it'll become repetitive, overdone. They will have to create new ways of taking each lightsaber battle to a new level. And we already see that happening. So it's nice to take a step back and get some average emotion from those affected most by tyranny, people we can empathize with and sympathize with. Andor is all about what the common being has lost in the name of freedom, the people they lose, the humanity they give up, and their own lives sacrificed for those they love, even though they won't live to see the end result. We romanticize things like the French resistance during World War II, oftentimes getting what it took to make those victories happen lost. The toll it took on the survivors and the lives cut short for a better future for someone else. Luthen Rael summed it up perfectly in his monologue in Andor Season 1, a sunrise he will never get to see. But let me know what you think down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up for the video, and join the channel as a member if you'd like. It all helps me create more content. It emboldens me even. So, help a small channel out. May the Force be with you for as long as you may wield it.